If you were going to a desert island and you had to choose Our Lady Peace or Moist, which would it be?
Jesus, man. Moist, worst name ever. Moist. What a fucking kind
Pierre's
of...
on the record.
Oh, do you hit a nerve there, buddy?
Hey, hello out there in Radio Land. We are back with a brand new episode for ya here on the Hitmakers audio broadcast experience. This week I'm talking to Misters Pierre Cormier and Adam Mowery of the band Papal Visit. On record, they are each one half of the band. Pierre's based here in St. John. Adam is in Halifax, Nova Scotia. We got together at Pierre's place / home studio, and he and I recorded straight to the computer. Adam was piped in on Zoom. I'm getting used to Zoom as a format. I will be honest, I don't love the audio quality. I've punched it up here a bit, but it's still a work in progress. Anyway, we had a great chat. They've got a new EP out. It's called Destroy the Hive. Actually, it's a single. We talked about that. They consider it to be a single. I automatically go to EP because it's got 2 songs. They consider it to have an A side and a B side. And it's like kind of punky, poppy, indie rock, both big Guided by Voices fans, if that gives you sort of an indication of where the music is coming from. All right, not a whole lot else to report. I think I mentioned this before. The show is going bi-weekly so that we give ourselves enough time to edit and promote each episode. We're not getting burnt out. I'm not having to start recording the new one while I'm still pushing the old one out there. I find it's a little much. You've heard me whine about this before. Otherwise, I got a solo gig this weekend. I'm doing some recording at the Imperial Theater with... band I've been playing with. It was like a 2-tone ska cover band. We're each going to do a bunch of our own stuff. We're playing at the Boardwalk here in St. John, September 4th, writing the music for a Fringe theater show happening here during the Fundy Fringe Festival, 3rd week of August. Keep it on recording these things. I've recorded a few in the last couple of weeks. Really cool one on Friday. You'll hear it probably in September. All right. Papal Visit. Check them out. Here we are. Here we go. How's that? How are we doing?
I'm just going to... I know it. Turn it a touch more. Yeah. Like that. Yes, that's there.
You got it.
Got it.
Yeah, I think I always keep it too quiet. Yeah, probably around there's where I want it.
Can you hear me, Adam? Adam, can you
I can
hear
hear you guys.
Hey?
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta hold it up though, probably.
You know what I've discovered ever since starting doing this? Anytime I go, or it's like you do it so much more than you realize. Or like that. Or there's
there's words like that too, like the word like. If you really like pay attention to how many times you say like, it's a whole bunch of times.
Like, yeah.
Like.
Yeah. All right. So Papal Visit. Are you guys like a Christian band?
Thanks for asking.
Do you ever get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to get it. Glory used to get that. You'd tell people the name of the band and they'd be like, are you guys like a Christian band?
You know what? Apparently there are a lot more Christian rock bands around the Maritimes than you really know. I was talking about this with some friends of mine the other day about how I was staying late at school in high school, and I forget why. Or I had to go back, and it was a Friday night. And I opened up the assembly doors, and it was like 1,200 kids screaming for music and a rock band playing. And I learned it was a Christian rock band. And it was sold out, but I would have never heard. They all heard about the youth group and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It actually is a thing.
That is a scene. I know. I saw some pictures from, there's a big one in Moncton. Like there was a student at the school who was like showing me pictures like he had taken at this thing, and it was like a stage with like smoke and lights and like real production and like tons of people. It might have been at the Coliseum.
Yeah, I remember
no
when I used to work at Harbour Station in St. John, and we had like Christian rock shows for real, like, and every year they get a little smaller, frankly, but they still would happen. But and there was Jars of Clay on the radio in the 90s.
Oh, I was gonna say, did they play there? Yeah, I remember Jars of Clay.
Daryl may have.
Yeah.
But
didn't hear them a lot, but
was that Pierre?
I didn't hear them a lot, Jars of Clay, but I know the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a song on the radio when I was...
Are they the ones like, if I can't swim after 40 days? Is that the one you're thinking of, Adam?
I think you just sang enough of it to pay for it.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid.
That is going to be the thing that gets this episode taken down.
When I was a kid, there was a band called Striper.
Oh, yeah, they were Christian.
Yeah, and they had an album called To Hell with the Devil or something like that.
Yeah, exactly that.
So, right, it like almost passes as like metal, but it's like, no, actually we're dissing the devil.
Yeah.
It's like hair metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everything had stripes on it. Everything was striped.
Striped like a bumblebee. It was all yellow and black.
All yellow and black, yeah.
But it was Striper with a Y, wasn't it?
It was Striper with a Y.
Probably, yeah.
But no, we're not a Christian rock band specifically. I can't really remember. I know we voted. We put it up to a Facebook voting thing when we had a bunch of names. We had other names we liked. I had other names I liked. I wanted to be called Teach Me to Fly Sky Fighter. I liked.
Teach Me to Fly Sky Fighter?
Yeah, it's the name of a YA novel. I thought it was pretty cool. But we put it up to a vote with like 5 names and people picked one.
Where does Papal Visit the phrase originate? Is it from a poster?
Is it from a
Tombstone?
poster? I think. Well, it might be from. There's like a plaque in.
A plaque, yeah, not a tombstone. What was
it? Says Papal Visit there.
Why would that
well,
be
okay, so I saw. So this maybe is after the fact. Cause there's one in the Jam Spot now and it's like from a Papal Visit. There's like a poster up there.
Oh, somebody just mysteriously.
Oh, somebody found it.
Appeared up there.
Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of Pope things that have mysteriously appeared in there. Someone's buying and repurposing Pope visiting stuff to us.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and it just shows up.
I thought I saw it and I assumed that it was just like a funny thing that somebody had stuck up, and then you're like looking for a band name. You're like, oh, that's a good one, but that's the reverse.
That's the reverse.
Yeah, I can't remember what. I can't remember if it did come from walking by it there. It was some of the phrase, I guess. But either way, turned out to be a bad decision. When you Google Papal Visit, apparently the Pope visits all kinds of places.
Sure.
And
he's
if you
pretty
try to find
popular
your
too.
Name, yeah, and then the other thing that happens is a whole bunch of people from South America have it on Facebook. Because probably they're looking for the Philippines, yeah.
Oh my God, right.
The Pope is visiting, and then we get like 200 new likes from people who've never heard about it. So it's not a great name.
That's so funny. Well, we used to be called Glory Glory Man United, and we would get similar.
And you changed to Glory Glory.
Yeah, we dropped it like for that reason, but we had like, it seemed like a big deal to us. Like really, it's nothing, but we had like 1,500 likes on Facebook.
Right.
And like, so locally that was a lot, but a lot of it was people thinking it was Manchester United. And there was this one guy, Basil Shagnasty, who would like comment, like he would like put hate on our page, like lying, cheating, dive taking scum, because he hated United.
That's hilarious.
Good.
But so I get it. I feel your pain.
And yeah, there's always some over. It never works out well. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's something I never used to think about, is how Googleable is my name.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
It never used to matter.
No, and maybe we'll change it tomorrow. But for now, we're Papal Visit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good for like titles and stuff like that.
I think it's a cool name. It's memorable. It's like funny, but it's like sounds cool.
I find a lot of people don't know how to say the word papal. Maybe I don't. Maybe I say it wrong.
Yeah.
Some people say papal.
You could call
Apple,
it
yeah.
PayPal Visit.
PayPal.
I know. I thought about changing the name straight up to PayPal Visit.
Well, it's a funny thing. Me and Chris were talking about that the other day, how we could change the spelling of the name. like PayPal Visit. Put out one single with PayPal instead of Papal, and just to switch it up, just to kind of laugh about the whole thing and not have it look.
You guys have a lot of ideas. That's a good one.
Well, I think we've seen other bands do it, so that's probably why we got the idea.
The reality is we could do whatever we want.
Exactly.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Release that however you want.
We're giving this shit away for free most of the time.
Exactly.
Right? What do you expect?
Well, so in that case, like the biggest commitment to the idea is in your own head a lot of the time. In terms of the world, like nobody, it's like you can like do something or stop doing it, and people just go, oh. You know, like some people, if you did it for a while and people liked it, then maybe some people will be sad, but.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not saying. Yeah.
Well, because even if like I was just thinking about like if you think about the actual Pope, it's like I cannot pay attention to that part of the world, like just that the Pope like works in, but he is still huge, like compared to any band that I've ever had. You know, it's like you throw like Twitter followers or something.
Couple billion people.
Yeah, but you guys could spell it. You could change the spelling. Could be like VIZZIT.
Visit.
I like it.
and then you wouldn't have that problem.
What about Papal Visit? How about that?
Oh, that's pretty punk.
Papal Visit.
Visit. Papal.
I don't know. I mean, they're all bad names, so.
All right. So.
But I mean, it doesn't matter. Who cares? I don't get hung up on.
No.
Yeah. It's what's fun? Make a decision and stick with it. That's what we did. It's a good thing to do. You just pick one and then you go, okay, and then it's that. And then you don't have to think about it anymore.
You hear so many stories about bands that hate their name, but what can you do about it, right? That's what people know. That's what you do.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of those. Sum 41.
Yeah. Archers of Love, Jethro Tull.
Sum 41 doesn't like the name Sum 41?
No.
I didn't know that.
Their
What's
band
Mr.
name.
Warbley's problem?
Yeah. They named the band Derek Whibley.
Whibley.
Yeah. 41 days into summer. That's when they formed the band. That's why it's called that. All right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Sum 41. Cone and the boys.
No, I'm just teasing. They're a great quartet.
I don't know what to say about that.
They're great. Yeah. Yeah, they are seminal, I would say. All right, so how did Papal Visit come to be for the people out there in Radio Land?
Go ahead, Pierre. Why don't you go?
I started recording stuff because I was looking for stuff to do because I wasn't doing much with the band I was in at the time, and I had a lot of space and free time to go up to the jam spot, so I started recording, and then I made a song, and it turned out to be all right. So I thought, because I was too lazy to write vocals and just don't really like the way, not vocals but words, so I asked Adam to see if he felt like adding some words to it and melodies and all that shit, and he said yes. I started from there.
And so the band began as a recording project?
Yeah, definitely as a recording project, mostly on my side, and then when Adam jumped in, it was like, well, I started recording more and faster and sending them to him a lot faster, and then it just took off from there. Next thing you know, we're like, hey, let's get a name and put something out.
Yeah, I think it was like I wanted to keep working with Pierre after I moved away. He was still doing these recordings. He doesn't really write songs in the way that I would write songs a lot of the time. He'd write music first, and so that allowed an opportunity to fill in what the rest of the stuff is. And I kind of get a kick out of that. And I was kind of sick of just conventional writing, sitting down with a piece of paper and writing. So I was happy to fill in that gap.
Yeah.
And it just kind of was like a duo at that point. But Pierre always recorded with people. But it's like pretty much all the songs begin with a Pierre idea, I think. and they all end with a vocal and a lyric melody for me. So it's that's kind of the thing that keeps them all together.
I basically just feel the need to record stuff all the time. So I just, with the Wooden Wives, as a band I was in at the time, we weren't doing very much. And we had this beautiful jam space, and I had a kid at the time, younger kid, like she was probably 4 or 5, so I was home a lot too. So I do it in the living room upstairs and shit like that. And it was just a need to record, and then eventually it turned into sounding good enough that I wanted to send it to Adam and see if he could write lyrics to it. But basically out of pure laziness on my end, because I just couldn't put the time into write a melody. I was way more interested in the music aspect.
Well, you'd rather come up with a riff.
Yeah, I'm definitely more. Yeah.
And I'd rather write a melody.
I wish I could. I wish I could. It's just so hard for me.
I wish I could write a riff. Same thing.
And it seems like a pretty prolific band.
Of the two things, it's harder to write. I think for me, I would say it's harder to write the lyrics than.
Right, but I could never write a rock riff on a guitar. That's not going to be a thing I do in my life.
Oh, you could do it.
You say. But I don't know. I can't imagine having the patience to buy the amp and get the pedal I need.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I'm into that stuff too. So
yeah, I'm not wired that way.
Gear. I'm definitely into the recording aspect of it, and putting a song together. Getting the drum sound, getting all the different things, and
I can dig all that too. That's all fun. Recording.
That's fun. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, I suppose the riffiness of it and stuff like that stuff. I can see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a better ear for that than me.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Yeah.
Do you find that it makes, because it strikes me as like a pretty prolific project and a pretty prolific project. Some nice PR alliteration there. But oh wow, echo.
Well, I don't know if it's intentionally prolific, if that's what you mean.
I'm wondering though if it's a process of like a byproduct of collaborating, where it's like you spend time in your wheelhouse, so you like crank out a bunch of stuff that is like your style, and then the other guy is like doing his thing over here, and also, because the other thing that I find about collaborating is like it takes you to a different place just by virtue of the fact that it's somebody else writing or playing. They're going to come up with something that I wouldn't think of.
Of course. So yeah, for me, it's always this huge surprise.
Yeah.
To get back the vocals with the track from Adam, that the track I sent him of the music. When I get that back with the vocals, it's always a huge surprise, and it's always a pleasant surprise. Because I would have never, that's not at all what I would have thought where the vocals would go.
Yeah.
And I love that. I try to make, I got to a point where we were doing it on purpose instead of doing it by accident, like at the start. And, and more regularly. And at that point, I was trying to make it more interesting. It didn't always end up that way. And sometimes it's just spontaneous. So I don't plan it. And we just get together. I'm like, hey, you guys have free time. Let's go up tonight and record a tune. I've got a riff. That's it. And we'd go up and we'd work it out for 2 hours and get something that we could play the whole thing through without making a mistake. At least two guys, the drummer, usually me on the bass or guitar or something.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. And then Chris would be there because he had free time to come up, and then Chris would lay down something that I had no clue what he was going to do.
Right.
But I just kind of like say, well, put it kind of in this part or that part.
And he hadn't heard the song before necessarily. He's just coming up and hearing it.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll say is there's like a spontaneity going on where it's like no one knows what they're going to work on usually before they work on. Sometimes I get that luxury, but I'm the only one.
That's why playing live is tough, and we only know like 16 of our songs live, is because most of the time we play these songs once, we record them, and that's the last time we played them.
Right.
And
and that's all you need.
And that's when they were written too.
Yeah, exactly. They're written once. We played them 10, 15, 20 times, 30 times that night, and that's it. We never played them again for maybe sometimes a year. Lately now we're trying to add the new ones as we're doing it. At least like a couple of them, not all of them, because not all of them are live. I mean, to be live tunes anyways. it'd be kind of interesting to see if we can do them live someday. But there's a few that I can think of that we would never try to do live. Like you know, Shine a Light. You know, you wouldn't do that.
Okay, well, let's back up a bit.
We could, but it's not. You know.
So, hang on. How did Papal Visit move from becoming a recording unit to a live band? And also, how much music had you made by the time that you played live? Like, how long?
We probably had the first album.
Yeah. And
yeah, that was out. I think
what
we
was
were
that
like
transition like, or what made it happen?
I just think it was, I wanted to do a live show of it. We were working with friends of ours on songs for a second record, and we already did one record, and I was like, man, I'd really like to come home at Christmas and make it a big show.
Right.
I'll be there anyway. And Judd, Crandall, and Pierre, and a lot of those local dudes always did a big Christmas show. So I was like, oh, I'd love to come back to St. John and do that on Christmas. So we did do that. We did it at the pub down under, and there was really good bands there. So anyway, so that was the first time we did it. It's an interesting dynamic. So basically,
and who's in the band?
Who's in the band?
Yeah, who was in the band that time at that first show?
Yeah, same band as now. It's me doing vocals, Pierre on bass, and then you get Jeffrey Smith from Tooth and the Fang. He's known as Will You Little Me. He's playing drums. You get Chris Braden, really good guitar player. He plays with Jessica Ray. And he's very old.
Well, these are all guys who have cut their teeth, right? Like, that's like one cool thing about seeing the band. It's like everybody knows how to play their position.
Yeah, the last guy is Jason Ogden. He's the one who cut his teeth maybe the most. And Jason's been working longer than me in music, maybe probably as long as Pierre. You know, like Jason's been doing stuff forever. So anyway, it's those five guys, and it's a good dynamic and stuff. We've been lucky that we get to play. Keep it together. I think so. Our first show was probably 3 years ago or so. So we kept to get together for a good little amount of time. And those are the guys who were on the recording too.
So how did that group, like, was it whoever was available, or was it a specific group of people?
No, it was just specific guys.
How did that coalesce?
Oh, I don't remember exactly. I think I don't know if it was because we were going to play live or they started coming to the recording sessions. I think it was because we were going to play live. We had to find a couple of guys to play with. And
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty, when it comes to like shows and bands and stuff, I'm kind of old school. I don't put the band together till we have the show.
Yeah,
right.
Like you.
Yeah, so they were
You're
the
practicing
guys,
for a thing.
They were our go-to guys, I guess, and we were hanging out a bit more at that point as, individuals, So it just made sense to ask Chris and Jay.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all Pierre.
Yeah,
that's all Pierre's side. I don't even see any of that.
Yeah, you were in Halifax.
It's funny.
So I was, I started.
Yeah, so like I just get the
Yeah. So it just kind of worked out great, and then it was, hey, that was fun, So why don't you guys come to the recording sessions, basically, and adding their 2 cents into stuff, right? Into tracks.
Yeah.
And songs.
Adam, you say you don't usually put the band together until you have a show. So you have, sorry, I'm just like following like thing. I think I'm just going to like cut this up in a way that makes my questions make sense.
Okay.
But
Right.
in a sequence of my own mind, you how do I put this? Okay, so like you've been a solo artist for a long time too, right? So you have tell us about your process for assembling a band, or what? Can you explain that a little bit? You say you don't put the band together until you have a show.
Yeah, I mean, I just really don't like to jam. Like if you and your friends, or not necessarily you're a very nice person. And not that people who want to jam.
I don't want to be in a band that jams every week, so don't ask me, please.
I don't like to jam.
Yeah.
I like to have a song, work on the song, and know that I'm going to do it at a place I'm going to do it. I like to be a performer, but I don't like to sit around the jam room and like, let's beat around ideas, dude. That's not really my jam. My jam is to have a song I wrote and have friends play it with me. And so if I'm jamming with guys, it's for an end result, you know. At this point, anyway, I've been playing forever. So it's like, maybe when I was 14, it's different. But I think people have a romanticized idea a lot of time about, like, let's get together and jam.
Hanging out and jamming. Yeah, it's funny. I don't mind it if there's a point, but
that's what I mean. So that's all. That's what I mean. There's got to be a point.
Yeah, if you're like just getting together to run the tunes because that's what we do. It's like, that is over in my life for sure.
Yeah. So I just want to. So obviously these guys are playing on songs, but like Pierre says, there's no reason to play them twice if you're not playing live.
Right.
Live and do them one more time. And so now, and those guys are really tight, so we can do like. In my ideal show, it's like a tight half hour of like 14 songs, 14 short songs, like that, between. And that's kind of what we try to do at a show.
Well, that's the thing. So I find that kind of interesting. Even you would say that, Pierre, you like the band, we only know like 16 of our songs, but that's like a pretty good set in most people's catalogs. But you guys seem to have a lot of short songs. Is that a conscious decision, or is that just kind of how it comes out?
I hate to say it, but it's kind of laziness. Or my short attention span. I'm working on it. I'm trying to make them. I'm trying to make them more intricate and complex, but I kind of like.
I don't know. There's a lot of really short wire songs. Really.
I mean, I like long songs. I like short songs.
I like short songs. I like that whatever song you got, it's a figured out version of its own little world, and it doesn't sound like any of the other little worlds you got on your record. It's like a little 45-second ditty or a 1 minute song.
That's
like
great.
In the middle of a whole bunch of others. That's what I want. I like that. Like little, they're space fillers, but then those are the kind of songs that they fill space. But if you listen to a record a few times in a row, they become your favorite. You know, when they come on. You know, do you guys like, I don't know, Ryan, were you ever a Plaskett fan? Ryan?
Yeah, I kind of like sort of in like the first one that I listened to. Or are you talking about like Thrush Hermit?
I'm talking about Plaskett solo.
Yeah, so like definitely I like Down at the Khyber and Truthfully, but Truthfully is the one that I had first.
Yeah,
I would like to say I was into it from
medical attention, but I had Down at the Khyber. But remember on Down at the Khyber, there's that brief little thing. He goes, you know, red lipstick in a black and white photograph. Red lipstick. It's like a little 45-second song, and it's one of my favorite parts of the record.
Yeah, I don't remember it, but I believe it. That's what I liked about Joel Plaskett. And then he like, you know, I think honestly it's like after Truthfully, that's when it was like, then it was the acoustic one, then it's like the rock opera, then it's like, you know, and then so that stopped me from going back to listen to Down at the Khyber or In Need of Medical Attention, because I was like, I don't have time for this Joel Plaskett. Or you like with 3 or whatever? You know, it's like I like sure. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if I only had Clayton Park by Plaskett, I wouldn't need anything else ever again.
Yep,
and
great album. Yep.
But in that Need of Medical Attention, that lo-fi album with Al Talk on it, and Kate Minikin, and I'm trying to remember who else is on there. But anyway, that one is my favorite because it's so homemade and so lo-fi. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Was Dave Marsh on it? Like, did he have that band yet?
I don't know if Marsh was on. I assume he probably was, but you know what? You opened up the CD. I remember that, and it almost sounds like a starring cast of characters that lists everyone's on there. I can't remember Dave Marsh on. Dave Marsh is great.
Yeah.
Dave Marsh play a million times. So good.
Yeah, I really like his drumming on that. Like, I would say Down at the Khyber in particular. That's what stands out about that album. Yeah.
I mean, the production is killer. And the songs are super figured out. Down at the Khyber is classic. I think it is. So it holds up. It's like 20 years old now. It holds up.
Oh, yeah, man. And I saw him in Toronto, too, like, after it was, like, sometime in the 20-teens. And I was like, Joel Plaskett, I haven't cared for years. And he played, and he destroyed the place.
Yeah.
Like, so
I went to see him a little while ago for, it was like an opening, some party for, like, a weed company. And he played at the Marquee. It was like a free show. And yeah, he slayed for like 2 hours. I like Electric Jewel. Anyway, the only reason
I agree
was because of like short songs that he did some of that stuff. And it spoke to me in that way, in the same way that a lot of Guided by Voices songs did. That fill up the album. You have a 28-song album, and like 5 of them are these 1-minute little experiments. These things that you tried anyway. But we have a few of those on our records, and I'm gonna keep them coming. I like the show.
Yeah, it's nice to mix it up too. I mean, I have an affinity for like both coming from Guided by Voices, not as much, although I always liked them. I just like didn't know where to get their music growing up. But I would say like Pavement and just like the world of like punk in general. It's like Bad Religion Suffer is like all the songs are a minute and a half long or something, or 2 minutes, or like the minute or like, that's a perfect example of a band that's just like all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, I think like you'd buy as a kid, or this is what I would think, I'd like buy a record that was a Canadian record. You look at the song lengths, and they're like all 2:45 to 3 minutes. And if you really look at those Our Lady Peace songs or those Moist songs, they're all the same length, but they have the exact same formula.
Okay. If you were going to a desert island and you had to choose Our Lady Peace or Moist, which would it be?
Jesus, man. Moist, worst name ever. Moist. What a fucking kind
Pierre's
of...
on the record.
do you hit a nerve there, buddy? You hit a nerve. Our Lady
I don't know, could I just take
Moist?
David Usher to the island?
I think you know what? I think it's an easy choice. It's Our Lady Peace. I mean, Moist, come on. Our Lady Peace
can I just take OLP from the
and I don't like either one of them, I have to say. What's that?
I just want to bring Our Lady Peace's first 5 songs on their first record.
The first half of
that's what I'm thinking.
Starseed and the
no Superman crap. No Superman.
No, I'll bring Starseed. Starseed's cool.
Yeah, that's the stuff I'm thinking. I'll take that over.
And that's
fucking. What's the other one? What's that? Moist?
Superman's Dead, man. That was like
Jesus.
grade 8.
No, that's not. It's not Superman's Dead. That's another band.
Clumsy. Our Lady Peace is Superman Said. That's like
you're thinking of Superman's song by Precious.
Oh yeah,
Superman that's
never made.
Okay, that's
Superman. And you know what? Damn. I'm gonna say this. That's a modern fucking classic. Superman's song by Crash Test Dummies is underrated. Underrated.
And Co. Would you say it's their best song?
By about 2,000 miles.
It's not even close. What would be their second best song?
Afternoons and Coffee Spoons, I'm not quite sure.
Ooh. Or does Peter Pumpkinhead, does that count?
Yeah, that's one of their songs. I mean, the point is, the only one I really get time for is Superman's song.
Lyrically is amazing, but I don't know about the whole aesthetic of it.
Of the Superman song?
Yeah, I'm not into
this. Yeah, I just like
I'm not into this so much.
The Crash Test Dummies are so weird, man. We watched some of their videos semi-recently on YouTube. We went on a Crash Test Dummies binge, and just they're like,
yeah.
That was a huge one.
Oh my God, Yamaha everything. There's it's like a fortune teller, weird, but it's like a 90s video. They're always wearing shitty vests.
Not my cup of tea.
Yeah. What were you listening to in that year, Peter? If you weren't listening to
Crash Test, well, that would have been probably when I discovered Guided by Voices.
Oh, but
Built to Spill. I remember listening to the Halo Benders. Pavement. Superchunk on heavy rotation back then. Liz Phair. I can go on.
Yeah, so you weren't listening to CTD.
No, I was not.
CTD.
I think that might have been a little bit before that time, but it might have been more in the 92, 93 range, Crash Test Dummies. But still, but I'm pretty sure I discovered, whenever they put out the Vampire and Titus and Propeller double album.
Yeah, 1993 or something.
That's when I heard them for the first time.
Which band
there
is
you
this?
Go.
Guided by Voices.
Oh, right. Yeah, they were a band. I just didn't know where to. I knew a guy who was really into Guided by Voices, but it was the internet wasn't really around. I didn't know anybody who it seemed like something I would like. And then when I was in university and had Napster or whatever, LimeWire and shit, I heard a little bit of it. But especially at that age, like, you know, Radioland in Summerside is the only place to get music unless it's on the radio. And you just didn't know. But they're a cool band, man. Pavement is one that I got into because I heard them on CBC radio late night, that like stereo. And I was the right age for that. I
CBC late night, later. Like Brave New Waves? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And just that it's like so appealing to a kid. I was found with like so much of that 90s stuff, it's like it's so relatable. For a kid too, it's just like fun to like, it's like big, like loud guitar and like crashing drums, and just fun to like I don't, just to be like not give a fuck, you know, like rock out and have fun. Rock out and have fun, kids.
Well, yeah.
So you were out in, where were you at, Ron? You were in Charlottetown, were you?
I was in Richmond, Prince Edward Island.
Richmond.
Yeah, middle,
Okay, cool.
like out in the country.
So the best record store within distance is Back Alley in Charlottetown?
Yes, and that's an hour away. And like, yeah, if I would go to Charlottetown for any reason in high school, that's when you like discover that stuff exists. But other than that, it's like we still we had cable TV and popular culture, but a band like Guided by Voices are just like fall through the cracks enough. It would they would have probably had their CDs at Radioland in the mall, but they would have been $25, and I wouldn't have known what they were necessarily to even look for that. It's like you go looking for like 9 Inch Nails or Green Day or like whatever, you know, like Weezer, fucking Nirvana.
Well, there's not, you know, Pierre's having a little laugh there, but like he told me about the 80s. And like, you know, how did you hear about Metallica, Pierre? You didn't have MTV.
Well,
that's true.
Just like I heard about Guided by Voices, to be honest, friends would get these, you know, they go on vacation, go visit a cousin in Toronto, and they come back with a tape of Kill 'Em All. And that's the first, you know, that was, you know, I would hear Metallica for the first time, you know, in 84 or 83, whenever that came out. And that would blow your mind, and then...
Yeah, but exactly. So you weren't seeing it on TV.
No,
you gotta like seek out the freaky shit.
There was one store in my little town, Dalhousie, and tapes were on a wall, on a rack that you flip through on a wall. You know, that's where you got your music.
Is that a music store or just a store that sells tapes?
It sold fishing lures, and they rented videos. And they
you bought your tapes at a fishing lure store, Pierre?
Well, if you wanted to buy one, that's where you got them.
What town is this?
You know what? Know where we got tapes, guys? Columbia House.
Oh, yeah. That's where. Yeah, I eventually got into Columbia House.
I remember getting Eddie Murphy's cassette of you know, she wants to party all the time. My baby
wants to party all the time.
I remember getting that through fucking Columbia House. The Cars' Greatest Hits. That was a great one.
Well, that's actually a good one.
I used to steal tapes a lot. I'd go to like department stores, and they'd have like bins like for $2.99 cassettes. And I had a hoodie with a pocket in the front, you know.
Yeah.
And I'd take a couple of cassettes and I'd put in my pocket, and I'd work at the wrapper with my nails, and I'd get the wrapper off, and I'd walk around the store and stuff the wrappers into like pants and stuff that were for sale, you know,
right? The
pockets, and I just walk out.
And then they're just your tapes.
Well, yeah. If they catch me, I'm like, those are my tapes. I never stole those tapes. And I think I stole like 10 tapes. I was on vacation out of town.
That's the best time to steal something.
Yeah, out of town vacationing.
What did you get? What would you have gotten?
I remember getting Black Sabbath Volume 4.
Nice.
I remember getting Triumph, some Triumph album.
Ooh.
Something Mystery Machine or Music Machine or something like that. I remember getting El Dorado by the Eagles. It wasn't for me. It was for trading sometimes. I'd bring them home and trade them with friends and get good tapes from them.
Right.
You talking about the Eagles right now?
Well, I stole a cassette, yes.
Let's ask you
El Dorado.
I didn't even know. I was just I just recognized the name, so I stole it.
Yeah.
I stole U2's Under a Blood Red Sky.
Oh yeah,
live album.
That's the live album. Yeah.
I stole so many, man. Holy shit.
Was there a hit on the Triumph album?
Not really. I don't think so. I can't recall. It's one of those 80s ones that nobody's heard of.
Yeah, well, they were a Canadian band,
one of the earlier ones.
Though that's what I'm wondering. I'm trying to see if I'm sure that I know some Triumph songs, but
shit.
But I don't
Power,
know if every
remember that
album
one?
would have had.
The Power in Me.
You were talking to the wrong.
You're
person.
young now. You're free now.
Triumph.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, Rick Emmett, right?
Rick Emmett, yeah.
Yeah, we had like Brian, who ran Brian's place in St. Elner's. He had a booth at the flea market in the Charlottetown Mall. On Sundays they had a flea market in there, and he had a table set up. I remember I was looking at a bunch of like sports cards and video games and cassette tapes and like probably VHS tapes. And he's like, yeah, all these Triumph tapes. He's like, Rick Emmett is the best guitar player.
Not quite.
Telling me all about them.
Not quite.
I never had any Triumph tapes. I had a lot of tapes, but I didn't have any Triumph.
Well, this is...
No, I've never listened to
This
an
is
album.
when I was 15, 14, 15.
Yeah.
I remember going to a strip joint for the first... I was 16. I went to a strip joint for the first time.
Where?
The air opened it up like it's fucking Mark Maron.
I was visiting my cousin.
This is the good shit,
I'll
though.
say
This is what you
Quebec.
want.
I was visiting my cousin's place in Quebec.
Yeah.
And I turned 16 while I was there, so they took me to a strip joint. Blew my mind.
Did you get
What was the name of the
ID'd?
place, Pierre? Do you remember the name?
No. I
Were
don't
you
remember
supposed
the
to be,
name.
was the drinking age 18?
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
But back then, you could get away with that stuff.
Were you a mature 16, Pierre?
I was already 3 years into my habit of drinking by that point, yes.
Respectable. Did you stay all night? Did you have any money? Did you get drinks?
I
Like,
don't-
did you?
I didn't have any money, so I was obviously not buying anything.
Right.
Did you get a private dance?
No. But I do remember the dancer sitting at the table with us. One of the dancers. And I remember her, it's like, this is so cliche. She was telling us about how she was going to university. And she was going to be a psychologist. That's funny.
Oh, and she's paying her way through.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess so, yeah.
And she's probably making good money. That seems to be more of a thing in Quebec than it is here. Just in
Yeah.
terms of like you see like strip clubs off the highway.
I grew up like 15 minutes away from the Quebec side.
Yeah.
The other side, the Quebec side.
The cheap beer side.
Yeah, the cheap beer and stripper side. So,
I grew up 15
and
minutes
you only
away
had to
from
be
the
18,
Scushby,
and you know when you were my age and you didn't, there was no pictures on the driver's license back in the day. So once you turned 19 in New Brunswick, you get this card with your picture on it. Well, when you're 18, you could use anybody's card, and you could go on the other side and say, "Yeah, that's me," and they couldn't say it wasn't you because there's no picture on it because you're not 19 yet. Because they didn't have picture IDs over there either. So I don't know if you get my
So
drift.
you wait a minute. You would only get a photo ID when you turn 19.
Yep.
Huh.
From
But you could drink at 18.
Right.
on the Quebec side. Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you were 17 or 16 and you wanted to go to bars over there, you could.
Yeah.
Because you didn't need a picture ID. You just needed somebody to lend you their ID. You couldn't be 25, right? You'd have to find somebody that was at least 18. That's it. That's
Yeah.
18, 19. You didn't want to go any further than that because you weren't believable.
Because then you wonder, you're not that old, and
yeah,
why
you
don't
could
you
tell.
have a
You
photo
could tell the
ID?
guy's not 25.
Yeah, 25.
Right. And it was $6 a pitcher. Holy shit, buddy. Holy shit. Not at the strippers, but at other places we'd go to after we. It was the strippers were. I mean, we're going Mark Maron here, right?
Yeah.
We'd go there so much that we didn't really care. We only went there because nothing else was open.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's just a place to go drink.
It's the only way to game in town. Yeah.
Yeah, basically we were in Dalhousie. There's nothing to do. We want to go and fucking start partying. Well, we're not going to wait till 11 to go to the main bar at the end of the night in Campbellton, right? On the New Brunswick side. So
The
we're like,
main
let's go.
bar in
Let's
Campbellton. That's
go to the strip joint. At least there's,
Dubious.
at least it's a strip joint.
Yeah.
If there's nobody there, it's not the end of the world, right? We'll have a couple beers and we'll hit we'd hit another bar on that side, and then we cross back over and go to another bar in Campbellton and watch hair metal bands play at the Flagship.
What was the flagship?
and taunt them all night, man.
Would they have a crowd?
Oh yeah, there'd be
Yeah.
like 100 people, 150 people in a place like that, and full of kids like 19 to 22, 23, and younger. Like few 18s would sneak in, like us. Well, no, not at that point. We couldn't get in that place. We needed picture ID to get in there. But yeah, that was a few years later, I guess. But yeah, there was the shitty hair metal bands with fluorescent colored guitars and lots of not quite makeup sometimes, but they had everything super.
Were
flashy.
they local?
No, they were touring.
Right.
They were a bar band. They toured bars.
And would they play would Campbellton be one night or would they play for a week or something?
They play for the weekend, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they played 3 nights.
And would they do originals?
No, not that I remember, probably, but I wouldn't recognize them.
Right. But their
So
hair
I
metal,
wouldn't care. I didn't
hair metal
care.
cover bands
We weren't into the bands at all. We basically point and laugh and boo and shit like that. And they get mad at us and laugh and stuff. They kind of got it too, you know what I mean?
Oh, whatever. I mean,
it was kind of ridiculous, and they kind of knew it.
Yeah, right. And some kids are making fun of. I mean, they're working. They're getting paid.
Yeah, they're a couple years older than me. They're like 23, 25.
Right.
Playing Poison songs in Campbellton.
Yeah.
like I'm gonna fucking take that seriously.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Think they ever did "Lick It Up" by Kiss?
Probably.
Oh man,
there was one band
song.
I think that kind of got famous, or not right famous, but that people knew about was C Spot Run. They would play there all the time.
Yo, I remember that band.
Have you ever heard that name before?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember 2 of their songs. I mean, in fact, when I first started playing with Chris Braden, guitar player in Papal Visit, we were like 13 years old. And one of the first songs we learned was the C Spot Run song.
Okay, well there you go. They used to play Campbellton regularly back then.
Funny. Would they be touring through the Maritimes or something?
Some type of circuit? Yeah, they're just.
I think they were an Ontario band.
That's what I thought. It was either Toronto or Vancouver.
Yeah, I think they were an Ontario band, and I mean, it was I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like the '90s, just Canadian rock.
Yeah, it's pre-pop punk, and it's not dirty enough to be grunge, but it's
Too
kind
Many
of poppy,
Cooks.
but
Remember them?
slick.
Too Many Cooks.
No,
Kind of
I don't remember them.
Too Many Cooks. No, they were.
It's almost like if you took Stone
Kim
Temple
Mitchell.
Pilots and Everclear and then boiled that into a fine broth,
right?
and then put it on white bread,
Yeah.
and then you get C Spot Run.
If Eve 6 were less edgy.
If Eve 6 were legends.
Yeah, it's not deep fried French fries, but frozen French fries.
Frozen
French fries. They're still French fries. They're just
You'll eat them because it's all you have, but
you'll need ketchup.
They're $2 a bag. Come on.
Yeah, $2. Somebody was ignoring the information. Now it's obvious that it's probably going to happen, but they can't.
Dr. Pierre is giving you what's going on right now.
Holy shit, eh?
He's one step ahead of Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. There are a lot of conflicting opinions circulating about where we are, how we got here, and how we should be
such a problem
responding.
Mm-hmm. And we are the guys to answer that question. We've got a lot of medical training between the two of us. We're epidemiologists.
Yeah, I really thought I would enjoy science class in high school, and it turned out I hated it.
I wish I was good at it. I wish I was. I love science.
I've always liked science.
I was in the French immersion, right? So it was hard.
Oh,
to
were
tell.
you? I was too.
Yeah, I had late immersion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We had science and French in junior high, and then in high school it was specialized, chemistry, biology, whatever. And I was like, chemistry, cool. I want to blow shit up in a lab, and then it's memorizing formulas. Yeah, I did not enjoy it or do well.
Yeah, you seem more like a creative.
Oh well, I mean, I think that's how we all ended up where we are right now.
It's true. We had to be creative.
Yeah, that's right.
As you get older, you got to get more creative.
You gotta get creative. You gotta live by your wits.
I'm getting really creative.
Yeah.
I had no choice. All right. So you want to do a few more minutes and then you get split?
Oh yeah, I gotta run in a minute. I wanted to make sure though to ask you guys about the new. I said EP. Pierre says single.
Well, yeah. Well, I think it's because I think I saw that the S word puts it up. Spotify puts it as an EP, maybe.
To me, it's like that's. I think just what I'm more familiar with.
I think that there's a disconnect here happening, and not to interrupt you, Ryan, but I think this is what's happening is we call it a single because a single used to mean a 45, which was you'd have
if it was a 7-inch, that's even what I was thinking. It's like because I was listening to it the other day, I was like, they should make a 7-inch. I would like to own it.
Yeah,
those are representative of 7 inches, in my opinion. To me, a single has a B-side. Now it's more like a single has a video. And then people put that up. But there are still bands who put out singles, and I guess we're one.
Yeah, definitely. The B-side's not on the record, that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, the A-side's going to be on the record. The B-sides are never on the record. They're
Interesting.
They're more like extra little things that don't make the official.
Which is what a B-side is historically, and it's like you can have some fun with it. Yeah, I think it's because it's like just the digital, like anything that's more than one song is an EP, one song is a single, anything more than that is an EP up to a full length. But even if it was like, you could have a 30-song EP if it was all, but would you agree with that? If it was all like throwaway stuff, could you have a 30-song EP, or is it just an album at that point?
I didn't know it was possible to have a 30-song EP.
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering.
I think it's like less than 8.
Traditionally, EP means extended play. We're referring to the extended mix.
Yeah. So it's extended. And so my question is kind of, it's like.
But an LP is a different. It's a long player. That's a proper album.
Yeah.
So an EP is not an LP, but it's not a single. So usually that means 5 songs, 4 songs.
Right. Yeah. And so I'm wondering if there's a certain, like an EP has a certain character or vibe that it's like less serious than an album, like if that's part of it.
Oh, I think that's
exactly right.
I love it. So okay, it's 2 songs. I can't remember the names of either one of them right now, but I have listened to it.
Destroy the Hive.
Right, Destroy the Hive. Who made the artwork?
The A-side's called Destroy the Hive.
Adam is responsible
I did the artwork.
for all the amazing artwork.
It is so cool, man. Is it a collage?
Yeah, it is. Thank you very much. Yes, It is a collage. It's like analog collage, so it's like a photograph of a collage, and that's the style I do. Usually with old advertising textbooks and stuff like that.
Neat. And you have a font.
I do. We do have a wide Latin font. I think like I used to like Ryan in the 90s. Not necessarily that they're my favorite band with, but although I think they have cool politics, is the band Cake. And what I always liked about the band Cake was when you picked up an album, it was always their name, the same kind of lined up yellowish, weird white sleeve, said Cake on the top and the same font, and then the name of the. And I just loved and that band a lot was about commodity. A lot was about the extra stuff we have in our life and stuff like that, and how they're recognizing that they are a commodity. And that's sort of what I think Papal Visit too. It's just the thing slapped on, we repurpose other things and make it a good thing.
Interesting. I know. I'm just thinking there's a lot to chew on. There's a lot of directions one could go with Cake. I always thought that in the world of punk bands, like the band having a logo was important because it's an old school thing, but like even just in the like fucking like NoFX had a logo, Rancid had a logo,
You've never seen a better logo than the Dead Kennedys.
I know, amazing, like iconic. Before I knew what that band was, I knew that logo.
Mm-hmm. And then I feel like the visual element is so baked in, especially the aesthetic of early punk rock. And the first wave of punk rock is something I'm really into. So I really dig that. I like the 80s stuff too. But like it's so married, you know what I mean? It's so married to each other. Like even I'm not really a Sex Pistols guy. I never really dug that record that much. But I mean, you can't argue with the aesthetic when you see Never Mind the Bullocks and you recognize it when you see it. It's a fucking advertisement unto itself.
Oh, you know what it is instantly? And it's something that I find interesting too. Sometimes when I see pictures of those outfits from that time, like because they were so extreme, and you like somebody put a lot of work into looking this way. Like it's not by accident.
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, if I'm talking about Sex Pistols, I can just picture the pink and the lime green and all together. I probably couldn't draw it for you exactly, but I can see it in my mind.
No, but I think even like the fans, the people that would go to the shows, you know, like the pants, the hairdos, the makeup, like, yeah.
And the Clash, like fucking Joe Strummer used to have like special jackets he made himself, and they paint their own like Riot on the back.
Yeah, I read a quote. I think it was maybe Mick Jones. Is that the guitarist in the Clash? Yeah, it was either him or Joe Strummer.
He was bass, but he sang Train in Vain, and he sang some goodies in the Clash.
Oh, that's maybe their best song.
That's a Mick Jones jam.
Yeah, nice. But anyway, this quote I read was either him or Joe Strummer. He's like, yeah, the Clash, like, we liked a bit of posing. It's like, yeah, we'll start the revolution after we find the hair gel.
Well, that's fun. At least it's realistic. Mm-hmm. I can probably relate to that more than, especially some of maybe the later Clash. I love the Clash though. Like, this is shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a ton of it, to be honest. Like, really, London Calling, and then whatever. Like, obviously, everybody knows Should I Stay or Should I Go? And
that first album is beautiful. I love the first Clash album. Oh yeah, White Riot, Born in the USA, Police and Thieves, Remote Control. That's when they're really like firing at it. And you love the Clash too, don't you, Pierre?
Yeah, I you know.
Oh, he does.
I try.
Well, it's one like because that album, the bits that I've heard, it's like that's
my favorite. It's not because I don't try though. I mean, I really want to like them, and I kind of do. I mean, I don't hate them. I don't hate them at all. It's just not something I go to when it comes to punk.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I found like what I've heard of the first album, that's when you hear it and you're like, oh, this is a punk band. Like, because you hear London Calling forward, you're like, oh, I guess punk was something different. But the first one, okay, so
I still like them. I mean, but it's just, you know, whatever.
Yeah, you're on the record.
I'm not a fanatic. I'm not a fanatic.
Yeah, you're gonna go down for that.
I'm not a fanatic. No, I'm not. I'm not a fanatic. I can live with that.
Yeah, that's fine. I agree. I'm not a fanatic either.
They're still good. I'm not saying they're bad. It's just
no, of course
not for me as much.
All right,
I've got 3 or 4 of their records. I still buy.
You can stop apologizing.
Still buy their stuff.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to be a huge Clash fan.
And he sounds like he is. He owns 3 or 4 of their albums.
It's more than honestly, I've only listened to London Calling. And even that one is like, you put it on, you're like, oh, it's like way more. There's like, it's different than I thought it would be. There's some tunes I really like off it.
You know, Pierre just has 10,000 records. And he's got them all.
Many records. I mean, I think at that point, I definitely would own some Clash records, but I don't currently own any. I had a burned copy of London Calling.
Hey, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I know I've got two for sure.
Which two?
I've got London Calling, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a guy and a horse on the cover.
Oh yeah, what is that one?
I like them. Don't get me wrong, I like them, but I don't know.
I can't remember the name. If Jed Cradle hears this, he's gonna.
I'm not into the. I'm more into the punk side of their stuff.
Yeah,
the earlier stuff. That's for sure.
Me too.
Combat Rock.
Yeah, I remember getting Combat Rock when I was a kid, and I don't know. That one was. It was kind of like in the middle, wasn't it, a bit?
Yeah, well, because that's the one that had like the big hits on it. That's another one where you're like, oh, I thought they were a punk band, but this is what they sound like.
Yeah. Is Rock the Casbah on that one?
Mm-hmm. I think it's on Combat, isn't it?
I think it and Should I Stay or Should I Go are both on that album.
Really? Okay.
I think.
I remember trading, but I remember there was a trade when I was a kid. I was made a trade with a guy in my school. And I was supposed to get a fucking medical skull from him. And I got Combat Rock and a medical skull or something.
A medical skull.
Yeah, I never got it though. I never got it. Got scammed.
What are you talking about right now?
I got scammed.
Actually?
A guy I knew had a medical skull, and I traded something for it.
What's that mean? Is that you mean a medical skull?
Yeah, like a plastic skull.
Okay.
They use for classes.
like a lifelike full size model.
Yeah, but plastic, not a real one.
Okay.
Not
Yeah,
real.
I think you're lying about that part.
But he didn't.
No,
deliver.
I never got it, so I might be.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be plastic.
He might have scammed you. He might have been bullshitting like he didn't have it. He didn't actually have one.
Scammed a lot of people.
Hey, medical skull.
Yeah.
Is the album you were talking about Give 'Em Enough Rope?
Yeah, that's it. That's
yeah,
it.
that's right. Okay, cool.
That's it.
Thank God I cleared that up. I would never
Yeah.
live that down.
Give him enough rope, and then
But
they
yeah.
had Sandinista.
Now that's
Yeah.
epic too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not my favorite punk rock band ever. For the record, I got three. One is the Dead Milkmen from Philadelphia in the '80s. One is the Undertones.
Oh,
And then
Undertones. I was going to say.
And then the last is probably the Buzzcocks. And the Great Pete Shelley, R.I.P. Love the Buzzcocks. So those are like poppy punk rock bands, but they're my favorites. I love the Clash too, and the Ramones, and the Dickies.
Yeah, the Ramones.
Damned, and everybody.
The Damned. Wow, yeah, you hit one there.
Whew.
Buzzcock. Well, yeah, Buzzcocks. Wow, yeah. A lot of British
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. The English first wave punk stuff is still like my favorite. Very hooky, melodic, and good. And like when we're doing a show, we try to basically do one of those types of shows. If you're going to come to a People Visit show, you're probably going to hear 15 songs very fast and screamed at you a little, and it's going to be loud, very loud. And that's the kind of because you know what? It's easier to get energy out of the crowd. It's easier to build up the energy yourself. And it's just a beautiful thing. I can't wait till we can do it again.
Yeah.
Right?
So the first song, Destroy the Hive, is like very sonically expansive. I was like really impressed by that. I put it on. I was like, whoa, it sounds huge. Like there's a lot going on. The synth I was surprised to hear. And then the B-side is...
That one, it's just...
Oh, yeah. It's,
What's it called?
It's one of those...
It's called Quite a Lot.
Quite a lot.
It's one of those things where I had a riff. We went up and...
And it's
and
kind of a
we
quicker,
worked it out.
poppier one.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a chorus pedal. Really wanted to use it. And so I made it, I jammed a lot. It inspired me to make that riff. And then I made it a little bit of an arrangement. Worked it out with Jeff. And once me and Jeff have it worked out, then we move on to the other parts. And if, Jay and Chris are around, then they jump in or they wait till we have something to work with. Mm-hmm. And they jump in and then they do their thing, kind of thing. But
And I just want to say I'm really happy to get Destroy the Hive out because we recorded that, I believe.
yeah, that one is totally Adam.
Well, it's me and Pierre recording at my house here in Halifax. He came for a visit that time. And I think it was 2 years ago on the nose. So that's how long.
Pretty much.
And really, the album's not even out. But we've been sitting on that for 2 years. I wanted to put it out so bad. So I'm so glad.
Yeah. That thing was totally spontaneous.
Yeah.
Totally spontaneous.
Yeah. We set up gear in my bedroom. Pierre would stand here for the weekend with me. And we set up the gear in there. We set up a drum drum bed track, basically, that's just a keyboard drum track. And then layered over this. And at the same time, you do some of the strings. So on the same track, there's the strings on the keyboard. Now, there's an old keyboard. It's on all my albums. I've been using it since the 90s.
Yeah.
And
big fat bass.
And then add a big fat bass. The bass we were going for was like listen to the Beefheart album, Captain Beefheart album, and it had this little back and forth
Safe
thing.
as milk.
Yeah, something on Safe as Milk. I can't remember what song it was.
Do what?
Oh yeah, da 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 da. Da, 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 which is almost the same riff as, of course, like the Kinks. You really got me.
Yeah,
da, 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 da,
yep.
da, 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 da. And so I'm basically doing a riff off that and just put some guitar on it. And like a lot of our stuff is analog. That one is digital. And if it sounds big, it's because the levels are pushed pretty damn hard. but it turned out clean and it's a neat thing. And we can also do a band thing. The nice thing about Papal Visit is it can be whatever thing.
Yeah, it's really just a place for us to experiment with. Fun,
Definitely, there's no genre. The idea that we'd have to stick to one genre is not a thing. We're a thing we care about and we're aware of.
It's a bit separated from the live thing too. The live thing came out of necessity, I guess, to just be able to perform, because that's what we were doing all the time before. That was the first time we had a project that wasn't, I guess, started out as a live thing. It wasn't really meant to be live.
Yeah.
And then it just had to be, and we figured it out. And now we still take the same approach to making a record. It's not necessarily a band thing. It's just whatever we are doing at the time. If it's something that Papal Visit, or something that fits the Papal Visit kind of mold or whatever. If not that there is one, but pretty much anything fits. There is no mold.
Yeah,
the
mold is Pierre thinks of some music and I put some words over it.
Yeah,
and that's what we do every time, no matter what kind of music it is.
I guess that would be like 80% of the time, and then there's another.
Yeah,
and Adam wrote a bunch of tunes in his life, so it's obvious that he's going to contribute that way too.
Well, and it's still going to come out sounding like you guys too, right? Like you can. It's very can be as free and as open as you want, but it's still going to come out. There is still a process that it's going to get filtered through somehow.
Yeah, it's not there's no selfishness at all. Like, it's whoever's got the next idea gets to record it, basically, right?
Right.
I try to come up with stuff because I don't want to bring the guys up to the jam spot and have nothing. And I need to go up to the jam spot a couple times a week. I feel the need. I don't get up there all the time, but I feel the need to go up and record. I'm compelled to do it.
Yep.
I don't know where it comes from, but I'm compelled.
Pierre's a weird breed in a way, in just that he collects gear and he has an ambition to record. He's not just a guy who has shit.
The space is amazing.
It's collecting.
Well, even this space is amazing.
For me, it's almost like collecting. I used to record everything, and then I realized I can't record everything because I don't have the space for it on my computers and stuff, because I do a lot of digital as well.
Right, yeah.
But, anyways, yeah, I forget what I was talking about, but I think you understand.
I was just saying, Pierre is a unique kind of guy. I'll just say that again, because he, is very ambitious and has a lot of ideas and sees them through. Lots of guys have ideas.
And it's really the reason me and Adam really connected, was recording and playing shows together when we were still in the organizers, I think, at that point. And me and Judd and Alex, and we were in the organizers, and we started playing shows with Port City All-Stars. They were awesome. So we loved these guys, and we used to get them to play with us as much as we could whenever we played those Christmas shows and things like that. And it turned into me and Adam really getting along because of the recording aspect of taking care of our own shit.
Right.
And why wait? And why not put this stuff out? There's no point in sitting on all this crap at home, like recordings and stuff.
Sure, you may as well. Yeah. I mean, you can just do it.
It's great to get it out,
Yeah, I always put out my stuff even before I had any business doing it. My first tapes were available at Factory Records in 1999 and 2000 when I was 14 years old. They're horrible.
Yeah.
But they were for sale, and they were
you had about yeah, that's cool, man.
Always put out everything, man. I'm leaving an editor.
Well, you put out a record, yesterday?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I put out one yesterday, but that was my first solo one in 7 years, so it took a long time.
Any reason?
Good. Well, I was doing Papal Visit stuff to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of got sick of doing stuff in my own name, and frankly, I don't like putting a band together. That's kind of what I like about Papal Visit, is the band is over in St. John, and I don't have to put it together.
Yeah,
And I just get to come and be like, oh, you guys sound good. I'll see what it is. Yeah.
I mean, we rehearsed twice before a show, and we haven't played in 6 months sometimes.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And songs that we played, we recorded, and it's
that also, that can be the thing that keeps it fun and exciting, though, because if you're we're getting together every week because we got to do it, and then you're like, why is it not more successful? I'm putting all this time in.
Once in a while, it crosses my mind and be like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have at least a regular, because of the amount of songs we record, it'd be nice to have a regular kind of a jam where we. Yeah. But I don't know if we'd record so many, if we were always jamming. So.
Well, and I don't think that
chore is really what I'm saying. Like
it does, and I often think that the more look, a rock band is not a play. If you want to do a play, you got to practice the play, practice the acts and the intros that comes out. But if you're talking about a rock and roll song, like one of our songs, you don't want it to be too shiny. I don't want it to be goals. I want it to have some sort of like newness to it when we do it. So I don't want to over jam, and it's never been a problem.
Yeah, you don't. It's funny. Like you want the possibility of it going wrong somehow. It's like that kind of tension and excitement.
Mistakes are part of it.
You're spinning plates.
Yeah.
And if you can convince the audience
that's a good way to put it.
This one is still spinning, then you can keep going on. And sometimes it falls off the rails, and sometimes you got to recover. And I don't know. I wouldn't want to labor it with music. It should, I would never want it to be a labored thing. I want it to seem, if it's good, I want it to seem good. I want it to seem like it's easy.
Yep. Well, I think you also want it to be that. I think for it to be worth doing,
Yeah, absolutely. Like you don't want it to seem like total work. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Right.
Keep it fun. Yeah, I'm sort of like
drifting off.
Well, drifting. Yeah, I don't know. Like I have ADD. I've like found out in the last couple of years, but it's like I like my train of thought will just like go over here, and then I gotta like collect it again.
I wasn't listening half the time.
Yeah. No. But this is cool. The one other thing that I want to mention is you had a special guest on song number 2. Also, speaking of like it being like kind of an open thing, Jay Vautour laid down some guitar.
Yes, he laid down an amazing noisy little thing at the end of our song, a solo.
Yeah, it was cool.
Call it a solo.
I was there when he recorded it. It was so loud. It was like really cool. He, like put it in open
spontaneity. He just showed up. Hey, you want to record something?
Yeah.
Take that guitar.
I love Jason so much. He's one of my favorite people. I met him working at a record store with him. It was my first job ever. He was the first guy I met. Working at a Music World.
Yeah, I was gonna say Music World.
In the
mall.
It's like 1999 or 2000, whatever it was. And I always loved Jason.
That's amazing.
And I see him now and then. He'll help me out. He'll hook me up with a lift back to SJ, and I was catching up with him. And so that's one of those things where I got a picture at the time of the session. Jason was there. But by the time that record came out, if you asked me who the credits are on them, I wasn't there to see them recorded. So I forgot that was even him. But but then as I listened to him, I'm like, oh yeah, that is not Chris Braden. Jason Vautour.
Yeah. He's got a flavor for sure.
Oh, and I love that. We've had lots of really good St. Johners. We've got a record done that's 25 songs. And it's got appearances by Sadie at the St. John. It's got a Wooden Wives reunion on it. It's got who else? Dan Chamberlain's on it. There's lots of goodies, lots of good St. Johners on there doing stuff.
Okay, that's beautiful. When is the record coming out?
That's a real good question.
Oh Jesus, good question.
I don't know, man.
We don't know.
We don't know because I don't want to really put out a record. I can't do a release show.
And we've said it was coming out so many times.
It is.
And we should probably stop saying when it's coming out because we don't know. We don't know.
This has really messed up everything.
It's a kind of the drag about it right now. I know it's like you don't really want. It's like there's like time, there's opportunity. You could do something, but you almost don't want to because you can't really do anything about it. You're like, hey, care about my thing on the internet here. Then it's done. Exactly.
And so, like, I want to have a show where I can move some records if I'm pressing up LPs.
Oh, no kidding. I mean, I'll take one.
The plan is LP. The plan is a hard plastic LP.
Yeah, with 25 songs in 44 minutes.
40, as much as we can cram, man. They said no more than 44. We got her on there.
On
all 44 on there.
So, So anyway, we're going to release another single in a couple of months, and then we'll see where we're at. We wanted the record to come out in the fall. We'll see what happens.
Still work. We're already moving on to the next one though. So there's more to come after that.
You gotta get it out now.
You got to keep moving.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
So, we'll get it out eventually, but I'd really like to be able to play it.
Yeah.
All right. Should we sign off on that note? That feels like a natural spot.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, thank you for having us on. And
dude,
everyone
thanks
out
so
there.
much
Thank
for
you.
being here. Where can people hear it? Oh yeah, all the streaming places.
All the streaming places.
Yep.
Bandcamp. Some of it's on YouTube.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Papal Visit. Just papalvisit.bandcamp.com. Go on Spotify. Look up Papal Visit. You'll find most of our songs.
All right, fun times. Thanks so much to those guys for being here. Thanks to you for listening. Show notes will be up. My website has expired. I forgot to mention this in the intro. I wanted to change the billing date to the start of the month so that all my bills come out at the beginning of the month. Just because I don't like getting kind of surprise ones at the end. And it had been coming out on the 26th, and Squarespace only lets you... the only way to change the date on your billing cycle is to let it expire and then start a new one when start a new one on the date that you want it to come out. So Squarespace, if you're listening, this is a podcast. You may sponsor me. You could make my website free. And then everybody would have some beautiful show notes. I think I'm just going to redirect the learndrums.ca to the podcast archive for now. Anyway, if you made it this far, you know what to do. LearnDrums.ca, Learn Drums on Instagram. All right. Those guys just told you where to check them out. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Enjoy the summertime.